Hi, this is Brene Furnoy. Welcome to my studio. I'm going to paint a quick rock for you today. How do you do that? You use the right paints. You can use regular craft acrylic paints, but if you want to make sure it lasts for a good while, especially if you're putting it outdoors, you want to use a paint that's meant for that, that's designed for that. So let me make sure I'm holding this up. This is Apple Barrel today. There are other companies that have indoor-outdoor uh, versions of their craft paint. This is easy to find at Walmart, so I picked it up. I've been rocking with it for a while, so this is what I'm using. So I've got the large containers because I'm an art teacher, right? I do paint parties and things, so I have lots of paint. So if you're really starting off, you might want to make sure you have the smaller versions. So this, I'm glad I have this out here. So this is Michael's brand. This is Craft Smart. You can find this at Michael's. This is the outdoor acrylic paint. So you can get started with the smaller size. You don't need as much as I have. So let me get this off of here. So let me scoot this over. And we're going to get started. Sometimes I like to have my ideas planned out, and then sometimes I like to just wing it, just go for it. So I've got my rock right here, and it's right in the center. And this is an old painting surface. I have my water container right here. And as I've mentioned before, I don't fill up my container all the way. I leave a little bit in there so that my brush is not absorbing too much water. Okay, so I've got that here, and I've got my trusty handy dandy napkins. You see they're all cute. Basically, when this dries, it's still good to use because it's still absorbent. Now, when it starts to really get thick and the paint kind of dries like plastic, so when it's time to throw them out when they're no longer absorbent. But I hold on to them in case I have any spills, and why use a fresh, clean paper towel when an old used paper towel will do? All right, so I like to wet my brushes before I get started. You don't need to do anything to the rock other than make sure it's clean. Sometimes it'll have little pockets of dust and dirt. You might want to get those out of there because the paint won't stick to the rock. It's a nice absorbent surface. I need to make sure I tell you more about how I got started with rocks. It's a thing. Rock painting is a thing. Okay? People paint them beautifully and leave them as gifts in people's yards. One thing I did learn about, do not leave them in federal parks and public parks like that. Don't do that. That's a big no-no. Don't do it. But it's a nice, let's see, I've seen companies, little groups, little organizations that paint these rocks, and they put a nice little label on there to let you know where they're from. And some people collect them and they're all over. So it's a thing. Look it up. So let's get started. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of paint. I'm trying to think. I'm going back and forth whether or not I want a, let me make sure this is over here, whether or not I want and I like to start off maybe with like a little dime size or a little nickel, and then it'll kind of spread out just a little bit. A little bit of paint goes a long way. Remember, guys, it's a rock, not a large surface. So let's see. I think I want to do maybe a little bit of blue sky. I think that's what I'm going to go with today. I think, where is the paint? I think I might make it a little bit umber, a little bit. All right, let me put this out here. And you can always add more if you need it. I don't like to waste the paint. Okay, so I'm going to go with a little bit larger brush. Let me show you. Okay, it's not too big, but it can move. Oh, look at there. There's some dust. There's a little pocket there. Oh, that lets me know And then maybe you might need to actually use maybe a little toothbrush or something old, you know, a little scrubber brush. All right, so I'm getting my brush wet. And when I say it's wet, this has more water in it than what I want. And I'm dabbing it off. I just want it to be good and moist. Okay, I don't want it to be dripping. You want to not thin these paints down with a bunch of water. Every now and again, I'll mist it. If it's kind of getting a little bit dried out, I just kind of spray a fine mist. But you want all of that acrylic polymer to adhere. All right, so you could mix out your color, but I'm just going for it. This is what I do. I'm just kind of smearing it on. And remember, we're not frosting a cupcake here. This is not where you want to have thick paint because that will peel off. I'm just kind of massaging this in to the rock. Now, of course, you can paint the top and the bottom, but for today's purposes, I'm just painting the top. So I am going right in here with my blue. And like I said, a little bit will go a long way. And I've got still a lot of paint in the brush. And like I said, I tell people to wet their brushes because it just seems to release the paint off a little easier. Okay. Oh, I thought about a blue sky. Maybe we could do a nighttime sky. Maybe this is a little water down here. Okay. And then maybe we'll just gradually. Now you're going to get a little paint on your fingers. That's not the end of the world. Okay, so I'm going back over here. And I'm just smearing it all in there. Now, you might want to make sure as you're painting. All right, so this is nice, kind of medium blue. I hope I'm holding this in the right spot. Let me make sure I get to both of the cameras. All right, so this is a nice medium blue. You may want to let it dry in between what you want to do next, but I'm not going to. I'm going to make sure, because I know that if I leave this paint in this brush, it will dry like plastic. So I'm going to put it back over there in the water. Now, for a little bit more detail, let me put this down. I don't know if you can see that. You want the little round brushes that will come to a finer point. There we go. I think you can see it a little bit. They're both the same size. So I like to have large, medium, small brushes out when people are ready to create. So now, this is telling me it needs, I don't know. Let me look at it. Let me squeeze out a little bit more paint. This needs a little eyeball and a little smiley face. I think that's what we're going to do. Like I said, a little bit of paint. I don't know if you saw that. I'm just doing a little small drop because the black is so strong. Now, it's not totally dry, but it dries pretty quickly. I already know my brush is wet, but that's just out of habit. I got to make sure. I might have to. Hold on. Let me do another good shake. Because sometimes after they sit for a while, just like Italian dressing, there it is. It's coming out a little bit thicker. It's like I thought it came out a little bit thin. Let's see. Let me put Fred down here. Fred, I think, needs 2 eyes here. Let me get in here. I'm not even on the camera. I'm not even on the camera. Trying to make sure. Fred needs a little bit of an eye here. Okay. And another one right over here. Okay. It kind of looks like a Pac-Man. I'm just going to go. Okay. Fred has art joy. Okay. So Fred has a little art joy. And I think he needs a little glimmer in his eye. I did squeeze out a little bit of paint though, didn't I? Okay, let's give Fred just a little bit of a glimmer. Okay, so Fred now has a little glimmer in his eye. And I think we're going to call it a day. And you can get as intricate as you want, okay? So that one is super duper simple. And it's just something fun to do, okay? Thank you for joining me today. Go and get you some rocks. Now, I find these at Home Depot, okay? Big old bag of rocks. If you enjoy painting them, put them in your yard, and when you feel like you want to paint a rock, go out and get you one and paint it. This is Brene Flano. I'm getting out of here today. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Try some outdoor acrylic paint. Michael's brand, Craft Smart, or the Apple Barrel brand 5 Flag. If you like this video, and all of the shenanigans that happen over here in my art studio, click like, click subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know when this art teacher is releasing another video. So we just kept it simple today. I should have done some yeah, I've got it over here. Next time I'll do some more. It's fun. It really is addictive, like eating potato chips. It's time to go. Have an amazing rest of your day. Spread a little art joy. Do something that makes your heart come alive. Do something that makes somebody smile. Peace to you. Bye for now.